Hi, welcome back to the Goalkeeping Podcast. I'm Paul Sherratt,
I'm Martin Brennan.
and I wanted to talk about the World Cup. Actually, specifically, England's goalkeeper conundrum. Well, I mean, is it a conundrum? It just strikes me. We've got a lot of talent. There's a bit of competition for the place. Who's going to be going to Qatar?
I don't know. There is a big competition, isn't there?
I think so.
I think we're really healthy, and I know the commentators and the press and well, they're all sort of all. No, I think we're really strong with English goalies generally. You got your Pickford, your Ramsdales. I still would have Ben Foster in and around it. I really would.
Yeah,
I really would.
He's 40 and not in the club.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your argument would
Which
be...
means he don't need to get holiday then, does he, from the club? So he's good to go.
So he's easily...
flexible.
He's released, he's in.
He's in. 100% I'd have him in the squad. 100%. Without a doubt.
Now you would... I know you're not serious, but you kind of are serious, because actually probably you would have him in the squad for his personality and his experience and his banter and his...
1,000,000%. Without a shadow of a doubt. If you look at Joe Hart, same. Joe Hart's been obviously in and around it a long, long time. He's had a good season, you know. I would struggle to choose a goalie at this point. Honestly, I really would.
I'm going to pick you up on Joe Hart.
Yep.
We're going to be bouncing around all sorts of keepers. Feel free in the comments to put your own opinions if you're listening to this, watching this on YouTube. Joe Hart, is it a disadvantage that he's not playing his football in England?
I think this has been spoke about for many years, and obviously with outfield players going abroad as well.
A simple yes or no would have sufficed.
So I'm going to now probably talk as long as I can talk without actually answering yes or no, just for the sake of saying it.
Yeah.
But no, there's no real truth. There's no real clean cut answer to it. I do think it is a little bit of a disadvantage. I do. You know, if you're playing in the Premier League and you're an English goalie, I think you've got a really good chance to be, considering how big the Premier League actually is. We're talking, without arguing about it, we're talking their top three leagues in the world, I think, without a shadow of a doubt. Whether it's top two, I still think it's the top league. So I think if you're playing and you're English, in that, you've got every right and every chance to be starting. The only thing I still can't get my head around with English goalies is that seems to be years ago when I was coming from the era of David Seaman's, that it seemed to be that you had to really earn the right, and you really had to build not the right but a real strong club profile before entering that team. And now I find like Ramsdale's an unbelievable goalie. He's a phenomenal goalie, but like Pickford's been in there for a while, and Ramsdale's come onto the scene. It's like straight away, right, we're ready, let's go. Ramsdale's in.
It almost feels like it's sort of fashionable to, doesn't it? Like he's the new hot thing. Let's
completely
get him in.
And it's like, well, what happens next year? Does does another team come and all of a sudden a 19-year-old comes bursting on and plays 10 Premier League games, and now we're like, no, it's not Pickford, it's not Ramsdale, it's going to be this guy. I think when you chop and change strikers, when you chop and change wingers, I get it. 100% I get it. Because with that, there's a truth there. Player A has played 10 games, scored 10 goals.
Yeah.
Player B has played 10 games and scored no goals or scored 1 goal. You'd like to think, one's on a high and one's, mentally maybe struggling a little bit. So with the goalies, it's very opinionated. It's a very opinionated position, isn't it? So
yeah, it's difficult to. I mean, you can throw stats in, but as you said, they're not snicking 11 goals in 11 games, or whatever, and they're in the squad.
Well, funny enough, on the last camp, we tried to work out in one of the classroom workshops what stats can you find on goalies that are completely and utterly true.
Yeah.
What would they be? Because we found one that is respectably measurable. You didn't know where the left back stood, so I'm going to help you with this.
Are you not? I mean, see, I would say saves.
Right, but what changes with saves from Man City to Burnley? What's the difference?
You mean the level of side that you're playing against, you mean?
So would Burnley goalie make a lot more saves than a Man City goalie.
Yes.
So then why does that make the Burnley goalie better goalie on his stats than the Man City goalie? Because surely the higher the stats, the better the goalie, no? Is that not the world says?
I would say, yeah. Is it percentage of saves versus goals conceded, for example? Is that the leveler? So I've it's 25 shots on target.
Yeah.
Of which 5 were saved and 5 went in.
Yeah. And does that not depend on what?
But that gives you a percentage, doesn't it?
Yeah. But does that not depend on, irrelevant of who it is, does it not depend on the style of shot, the pace of the shot, whether it's left foot, right foot, whether there's a wind, whether there's a sun in the goalie's eye, whether it's raining, whether it's dry? I mean, there's so many things.
It does, but I'm going to throw my tennis stats in.
Yeah.
So you would measure unforced errors versus winners. You've got the same grey area where you go, well, actually, was that an unforced error?
Yeah.
Or was it a mistake? Was it a winner? How'd you classify? It's someone making the point that winner, fair enough.
Because I don't see that at all. If you're playing against me and you're saying you got 8 winning shots.
But is it an unforced error?
Yeah.
Or is it a forced error, basically, is the difference.
Yeah.
So they only track the unforced error. But if I'm putting you under a load of pressure and I've put you in the corner and I've put the ball in the net, is that an unforced error? Or is that effectively a winner because I put you under pressure?
But I still see the language of, you've said, when you were saying that, you've gone if, and then if, and then if I did, and then if.
Yeah.
That's all my point.
What stat did you find?
We found penalties is probably one of the best or closest things that we can measure, which is measurable.
What's the difference between a penalty and a shot?
Not much is going to change because the ball's dead.
Yeah.
And it's 12 yards out.
Yeah.
And the goalkeeper has to stand on the line. So there's no advantage. Yeah. So you might say, I stand 3 yards out. Well, I might stand 8 yards out.
Yeah. Yeah.
The setup is exactly the same every time. Now, you might argue and go, well, there is still a wind, and there is still a rain, and there is still a sun in
yeah.
Yes, I get that. But what we were saying was the closest to measuring what it looks like.
Okay. I don't think you know the answer to this. Maybe we should go away and research it.
Yes, I'm hungry. Oh, God.
Based on that stat, who should be England's goalkeeper?
Can't answer that.
No, I know.
No, I'm too busy doing camps.
I know, exactly. But that would be interesting, wouldn't it? By the way, I should perhaps at this juncture say we are talking about England in the World Cup. Other home nations are available. Yep. Clearly, Wales will be there. But I think we did conclude that Hennessy, considering the outstanding game he had the other week in the final qualifying game, is in. No discussion. Job done. Move back to England. Are you happy with that? Apologies to any Welsh listeners, viewers, that we're not discussing the merits of the Welsh goalkeeping lineup.
No, I still think the difficulty is because they're all doing so well. I do. So if you said to me, who would I have in there still for the World Cup? Between the two, I still think it'd have to be Pickford or Ramsdale. I'd still just go with Pickford still, I think. I mean, I love a goalie playing 100 games, going and earning 50 caps, 100 caps.
Yeah, I grew up with Clements and Chilton.
Exactly.
They've probably had 60, 70 caps each. Nobody else was in the mix.
Yeah.
You knew where you were.
Yeah.
It was an incredibly successful era for England. No, it wasn't. So there you go. You
sort
see?
of was.
80s, not really, but are we saying we're in a successful era now, and therefore Southgate, yes, they're in for 10 games and they're out, but is it working?
All I do know is it's a tough decision for that group of staff, England group of staff. It's a tough call.
Who can we Okay, we're going to take. Let's. Can we narrow it down? Let's throw who's in the mix first and foremost. We got Pickford.
Are we talking about starting or the three? Because I'd love to
I think we should try and get to the three, and then at the end of the pod, you and I can make a choice. But who's in the mix? Because the mix is greater than three. So I'm going to throw. I mean, what's happened to Dean Henderson? If we'd have been having this conversation probably before he moved to Man U, on the expectation that he thought maybe De Gea was leaving and he was going to be number one, we may well have seen him have an exceptional season for Man U and go, oh, Henderson, yeah. I mean, he may have even been playing and picked up 10 caps, whatever.
I'm
But
not
I
going
would still
on.
throw him in.
Yeah, I'm not going to go on any opinion or judging anyone with it. What I'm going to go down the road of, how many games has he played in the last 6 months?
Yeah. I don't.
That's not criticism.
Probably
I'm just
none.
working on.
I'm guessing. I'm not sure whether he played any cup games, but if he did, he's played a handful of games.
So for me, that's why he wouldn't be as a star, and that's nothing to do with his ability. I'd want the goalie to be playing week in, week out on a build up to it. Now listen, he might go and play them games to the build up to the World Cup. Then maybe, yeah.
Okay.
But if it was the World Cup was starting tomorrow, I'd want goalies that've been playing regular.
So looking at other keepers that have been in the squad in the last couple of years, so you're gonna have to discount Tom Heaton.
Yeah, which would
he also hasn't,
which would really hurt me because I love Tom. I think he's excellent.
You know him,
yeah, really steady Eddie. But for me, we're talking about England. It's got to be regular.
Okay.
You've got to be playing regular.
Fraser Forster.
I know my three, so we can keep going.
Oh, can you?
Do you know your three?
No.
No.
That's why I'm throwing them at you.
Okay.
You to,
so
this
Forster,
is like a debate. It's a discussion. I mean, if we know our three, should we just?
You got the
we
same.
could probably do the podcast in a minute and
easy.
It'd be easy, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be very interesting though, would it?
Forster again. How many games has he played in the last 6 months?
I don't think he has many, has he? Okay.
And it's not a matter of just playing and then, Elite 2 goalies. Oh, and I'm English. I've just played 80 games this season.
Yeah.
In all the cups.
Yeah.
He's playing at the highest level consistently. So I wouldn't. No, he wouldn't be for me in that squad. Joe Hart. There's a reason why you'll find out in a minute when I tell you my three that Joe Hart wouldn't be in that. But yeah, I've got a shock
that's like a
one.
cliff. You can't leave me hanging on that. Why wouldn't he be in your three?
I'd have to tell you my three before I tell you the Joe Hart bit, unfortunately.
Do you want to tell me your three then?
Three?
Yeah.
Third, I'm going Ben Foster.
You are going Ben Foster.
Ben Foster's going to be in the squad.
He's going if he's listening to this, he's going to be chuffed with that.
He's going 1,000,000%. He's going in
off
the squad.
because he's off. He's taking his bike down to Qatar. He's off. He's cycling. He hasn't got time to be playing
I'm happy
football.
for him.
He's on his site. He's got some podcasts to record. He's got a show to do.
Well, if he cycles there now, he'll get there in time. So I just want him there. No, listen, all jokes aside, I'd want him there. I think his character's phenomenal. I think he's been in the game a long, long time. And do you know what I think? He'll offer so much to the other two. And it'll be an unselfish offer as well. To know that he's going, knowing he's probably not going to play, but he's gonna support them. He's going to be with them. There's going to be real... I honestly feel there'll be proper emotion for the other two. You know? So 1,000,000% for that reason I would take Foster as a 3, knowing he's going as a 3. And have the conversation before.
Which, as a very, very quick aside, going as a 3...
Yeah.
The importance of that role. I've got to understand the importance of that role. In fact, there's a previous podcast.
Yeah.
One of our glove glue athletes, Matt Gould. You'll remember his grandfather Bobby won the FA Cup with the Crazy Gang, and his father Jonathan played for Coventry Celtic. He's in the New Zealand squad.
Right.
They're one game away from the World Cup. He's going as a number 3, but he's going as a number 3 because he has all those attributes that you've just talked about with Ben Foster. There are younger keepers there. He's got, not that he's an old guy, he's 27, 28, I think. But he's going there specifically to be that guy that's in that supporting role. And he knows it, and that's fine.
I think some people not in football don't quite get the... Yeah, but surely you take the best 3 and the best 3 that's available. I get that. I 100% get that. And that's why it's frustrating for me not to put Tom Heaton in there, for example. But Tom would be hungry to play. Hungry and desperately would want to play. Where, what's the odds of both of the 1 and the 2 getting injured and the third coming in and playing? It's unlikely the second one's going to get on, let alone the third one. So that's why I would put him in there. And
that's why you're not putting Joe Hart in?
Yeah, I think, because because I still think Joe Hart will be in a similar situation where he will still want to play. He'll still support people. I can imagine that, but I don't know. Listen, there's something with Ben
See, I think
Foster that I
has Ben Foster ever been to a major tournament?
well, he came out, didn't he? Because he
When did he
realised he wasn't going to play at that time, and I assume that's how he retired. When
He did,
Paul
but
Robinson was playing,
I think
wasn't
I
he?
can't remember if he retired post a tournament where he'd been in the squad and said that's it, or whether it was pre a
Right.
tournament where he felt he wasn't going to get selected and therefore it was I'm retiring from English
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for my number 3. I'm going to go Joe Hart because I think having played at a major tournament, played at the highest level, had a good season, albeit I take your argument, not in the English Premier League. He's had a good season. Yes, he might be hungry to play, but he's probably old enough, mature enough to also recognise that if he goes, he probably won't play, and he can add a great deal of value in terms of experience in a major tournament.
It's an important conversation, that one, isn't it? Before they go as A3.
Yes.
This is why you're coming. If it, to break down, you're in. We've got no concern with you at all.
Yeah.
But you're going as this. It's an important conversation,
Totally.
isn't it? Yeah.
Because then you're going to set your stall out in a different way, aren't you?
Completely.
If he knows,
whoever
it is, if it's whoever goes as a number 3, if they know they're going there, but they're going there in it's a mentoring role, it's a supporting role, it's a making sure that either one of the other two are totally focused and prepped for the game, and they can impart advice. It does suggest that it needs to be a more senior and experienced keeper. There's a lot of logic in that. Take a senior, experienced guy to help the youngsters. Let's say
you go knowing that, right, what am I offering here? I know I'm going to be taking all my experience. I'm going to think about all the times that I've been through. I'm going to think of the penalty shootouts I've been through.
All of that.
What worked well for me, what didn't. Did I want the goalie coach speaking to me? Did I want him all over me? Do you know what I mean? And that's, so that would be for... My 1 and 2 is easy, and I don't know what my 2 or 1 is going to be yet in terms of who's going to start.
Just whilst we're on the 3, this argument we're just evolving. Could you throw in a David Seaman?
As a third?
I mean, all of those arguments... He's
still...
experienced, he's been there, he's played at the highest level, whatever. Or is he just now too far removed from the whole setup?
Do you know if I was...
the youngsters just go, who's this foe? He's not, I can't learn from him.
If I was the England goalie coach, I would honestly get hold of his number and I'd ask him to come out. I would. I did my scholarship at Tottenham and we had Pat Jennings around us a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much in terms of sessions and stuff. But when he spoke, the whole training ground stopped talking and just literally stared at him and listened to every word that came out of his mouth. And you just learnt so much from him. And just being there, and his just presence was like immense, And then when you start, because I was young then, you start looking at his full career, you think, he's had a good career. And then you look at his career and you're like, oh my God, you don't realise at all what he did and what he done. And I think David Seaman has the same impact, Yeah. So would I take him? He's going to be my 4th. So when he speaks to Southgate on a WhatsApp group, let him know that he's going to take one less player.
David Seaman in the squad.
Yeah.
But I suppose he doesn't have to be in the squad. He can be there or do you need to be in the squad to have that influence? If he went as a coach...
No, I'd want him on the bench. I want to name him. He's 4th. He's getting kitted out, everything.
So you've now got him in.
He's getting kit.
So you're bringing in a 4th?
4th. I'm going 4th.
I mean, I just threw him in just as a perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm only taking 3.
I'm now considering 5, and I may bring Ian Walker with me as well, because I've done my scholarship there, and I respected him so much, and he's a very, very funny guy. So I think he could, I
mean, you got Foster, Ben Foster, Ian Walker,
Seaman,
David Seaman.
The last 2 for me are obvious.
Any more that you want to?
Any more? No, I think taking 6 is just a liberty, really. I think that's the department. The goalie department is now too big.
Okay,
so I'd leave it at 5.
So I'm sticking to the rules here.
You're taking 3.
I'm taking 3.
Yeah, but you need more room to get the bikes on. So I understand why you're taking 3.
Yeah, I've got taken the bikes.
Yeah,
got Joe Hart's in there for me.
Yeah,
in the role we've just described.
Fine.
it has to be Ramsdale and Pickford.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other. How many English goalkeepers are playing in the Premiership?
I looked at this the other week. There hit 6 starting goalies in the Premier League.
Can we name them?
We have Ramsdale,
Yeah.
Pickford.
Yeah.
I'm going to spot that.
Yeah.
Alex McCarthy.
Yeah.
Um,
And credentials for McCarthy? No, not going to happen. Too early. Not at the level of
no, I don't
Ramsdale,
think it's.
Pickford.
I think it's more that. Yeah, I mean, again, he's had a fantastic career. When he was at Reading, he had some fantastic loans. Like the loan structure for him was phenomenal. But yeah,
Okay.
I don't like picking and choosing goalies. If I had the choice, I'd take all the English goalies to World Cup with me. All
No,
of
you're
them.
getting greedy. I mean, you've already expanded
We're
it to
6,000
C.
in.
I mean, yeah. It's a pretty big plane.
League One, League Two,
You would
they're
just
all going.
You would just take the whole team is made
Whole
up of
team
the keepers.
will have a big English golf day of goalies, and we'll obviously have to do the World Cup bit as well, won't we? But
Yeah.
we just pick one out of the hat.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors for between Pickford and Ramsdale. Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah, we just or a couple of little relays, or just pick someone out of the hat. Or
Talking about relays, this. So I was flicking through social. I'd forgotten. Do you remember back in the day? It was sponsored by Rumbelows, and they took first division, I think, or from any division, the quickest footballers, and they did a Rumbelows sponsored race. It's like the best. Right, we've got X from Fulham, and he's from here, and they tried to find, and it was like a pre-game little competition to find the quickest sprinter.
Was this the 50s or the 60s?
No, this would have been pre. This would probably been this was the 80s. This was pre-Premier League, 1980s. Rumbelows. Remember Rumbelows? I think they
was
sold
born in 80s. So
I think
I'm
Rumbelows
struggling with
sold electrical. They were kind of a
Okay.
precursor to Curry's, Comet, Dixon's kind of.
So
gig.
what's that? Just quickly.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with me taking 6,000 English goalies to World Cup?
I've no idea. It just popped into my head, thinking about measuring. Measuring. If there's a way of.
We're testing them.
We're
all
back
out
on
there.
the stats thing, really.
I want the funniest goalie in there as well. So I don't know how we're going to measure that. The most laughs. I want to make sure.
Who is the funniest goalie that
the funniest goalie
you've met in your career?
Oh, that's
It'd have to in the context of these have to be English, unfortunately. Well, I say unfortunately, but we're just to go and make up that dressing room.
Could we do that as a podcast?
We'll do that as a podcast.
Because I honestly think there's quite a lot in that. Because they're funny for different reasons.
We'll keep it under our hat.
Yeah. Some stories could definitely not be mentioned.
Make sure you follow and subscribe for the later podcast.
Yeah, for that one.
So we're on the plane to Qatar.
Yep.
We've decided, you and I.
Yeah.
We've all the others have disappeared. We're now left with 2 standing.
Yeah.
You're taking a plane load. I've just got Joe Hart.
We're having a right good time. We've got a stag do going on.
I'm taking it serious. Me and my 3,
yeah,
we're taking it seriously. We want to win the World Cup. You're going there to have a good time.
That's a boring plane. It's going to have party poppers coming out and everything.
We're focused. We're obviously all sat at the front of the plane because we're, goalkeepers are with number 1 with the front of the plane. We've got Ramsdale and Pickford. You've got to make the. Well, how many? What have we got? 3 group. Ooh. Can you swap? Can you change keepers? I've never seen that.
Yeah.
You're going to change your outfield players. I can't think of a time where England have changed a goalkeeper mid-tournament.
Do you know? I've come on either as a sub, and I'm not saying through the game. That is tough. That is really, really tough. So I think being able to then swap games, I'm not sure. I've been in that situation before as well. We go tournaments and you're starting one game, then you're not.
So you can't say, look, guys, we can't play the old. I'm really struggling. I'm struggling to make this decision. So, Aaron, you can play the first game.
Yeah, half
And
each.
yeah, you can play half each. That's all I can think of.
We're going back to grassroots, half each.
It's not going to happen, is it?
Both dads are there moaning
Yeah.
because they come all
Yeah,
the
I
way
haven't
to
brought
watch
my
half.
gloves. Oh, there's some gloves in the bag, I think. You'll be all right.
I
What
would
size
judge.
are you? Oh, they might be a bit big for you, but you'll be fine.
If I'm the England goalie coaches now and the staff, I think from start of the season, I'm looking at that. I'm judging from there to then
Yeah.
to the start of the World Cup. That's where I think I'm going right. Who's in the not so much the physical best state because they're all like machines anyway now, but who looks like they're in a mental state, real good mental frame of mind, who's been playing consistently well. For me, the biggest word in goalkeeping is consistent, and the most consistent goalie performing at club level to build up to that would be my starter.
See, also, I think Pickford's obviously had more caps.
Yeah.
He will have played, so therefore he's played more games with probably the members of the squad. So are they more comfortable? Are the other squad members more comfortable with a Pickford just because they've played together longer? Or doesn't that not really? Does that?
But there'll be things that Pickford does that upsets the defenders, and vice versa. There'll be things that Ramsdale does that upsets the defender. There'd be pros and cons to defenders from both sides. You know what I mean? Both sides. So they'll like that, but they hate that.
I mean, they're different characters.
Completely.
We've talked particularly about Ramsdale in quite a few podcasts. His ability to be completely engaged in the game and driving the game and being real, and you can see the camaraderie and he's a really important part of that Arsenal team. I haven't watched enough of Pickford to know whether he fulfills that role at Everton, but my guess is he doesn't. He's a quieter, maybe not quieter, but he's not necessarily integrated in the same way. I don't know how it plays out in an England setup, whether Ramsdale can take that same, whether he has that same standing, whether he has that same relationship, whether he can be that same, in inverted commas, leader at international level than he can at club level.
Yeah.
If he can, then he's my number one.
Right.
If he can't, then Pickford's the safer option.
Fine. There you go then. What do I think? I still think that I would only judge it on the 4-month build up. That's the only way I would judge it.
So when we World Cup November, so we've got October, September, August, July. We're not going to play July, so really you got August, September. You got 8 games starting next season to make up your mind. Happy with that?
If I had to make the call now, I would probably go Pickford because of the last tournament. I think he did well in the last tournament. The only frustrating bit for me, I used to love David Seaman and his mentality and the way he
we've got that. He's coming with you. He's already on your plane. You've got him in there.
Yeah. But there's parts of Pickford's game in terms of sometimes the verbal shouting. There's bits of it that I'm not a massive lover on. I just think if he had a little bit more of a David Seaman mentality, I honestly see him in going to an even higher club than Everton. I do. There's just them little bits there that sometimes a bit frustrating.
Is it? And just a quick aside here. Is it? Sad's the wrong word, but disappointing as an England fan that if it is Pickford, our England number one goalkeeper does not play for a top 6 club. You could say if it was Ramsdale, he's in at Arsenal, but not playing for Liverpool, not playing for City, not playing for Man U, not playing for Chelsea.
No, but then I think then that shows the strength of the Premier League, and to have 6 English goalies starting in the Premier League, I just think that shows the strength of English goalies. So there's two ways of looking at it.
Or you could argue that why don't we have English goalies playing for those?
You could,
big
but then it's not
clubs.
an English league, is it? It's a world league. So it all depends how you look at it. You could look and go, well, there isn't. And I agree, there's part of me that agrees with that. But then you can also look and go, or it's the best league in the world, or the one of that's spending the most. It's a world league. It's not an English league. It's a world league.
And
With
I
players
suppose
from all
actually
over the world.
in all of those,
We've got six starting.
and that's the point, starting, because again, I'd have to look at it, but I'm pretty sure there are English keepers in every single squad, top 6 squad.
Yeah.
There'll be a number 1 or a number 2 that's
Yes, of course
an
there
English
is,
keeper.
Yeah. You think there's 2 Brazilians, isn't there? But what's the Brazilian league actually like?
Yeah.
So that's my point when people go about English goalies.
Yeah.
We've got 6 starting in the world.
Well, you've got about
best.
6,000 starting in the World Cup for you.
We have.
I've got 3. Well, they're not starting.
But we've had the best night out you've ever seen.
You've had a good night out. It's a cracking debate.
Yeah.
As I said, feel free to comment, like, share, post, debate. We don't know. Who knows? We're a long way out from the World Cup. I've got my 3. You've got your 6,000. Perhaps we'll revisit closer to the time.
So, yeah. That'd be nice.
See where we're at with it. In the meantime, I'm Paul Sherratt.
I'm Martin Brennan.
And that was the Goalkeeping Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the content. If you'd like to become a better goalkeeper, then check out developinggoalkeeping.com, where you'll find podcasts, tips, videos, and more.